Hello and welcome to this presentation, which intends to give you a background to the Global Water Partnership and the Global Water Partnership Organization governance structures. My name is Susanne André. I'm the Senior Legal and Human Resources Officer at Global Water Partnership Organization in Stockholm, Sweden. In order to follow this presentation, it's recommended that you have a copy of the GWP statutes at hand, as it will be referred to during the presentation. The governance structure of the Global Water Partnership has been developed through the last 20 years and has grown to a great extent in an organic manner. The main unique feature of the Global Water Partnership is that it comprises two separate entities which coincide in parallel with each other. The Global Water Partnership is a network of partner organizations which work together towards fostering and integrating a sustainable method of managing water resources. The Global Water Partnership network does not have status as a legal entity itself. Rather, it's a flexible and reactive network, much like Facebook or LinkedIn. The network was created in 1996 on the initiative of the World Bank, UNDP, and the Swedish International Development Agency, SIDA. Over time, as more GWP partners joined the network and activities became more intense, there arose a need to find a structure where the Global Water Partnership network could be more formalized instead of being managed as a project within SIDA. Various options were looked into, and ultimately the option of creating an intergovernmental organization was chosen. The Global Water Partnership Organization, which is the legal representative of the Global Water Partnership Network, is an intergovernmental organization established by a Memorandum of Understanding which was signed during 2002 by 8 countries and 2 other intergovernmental organizations. The countries were Sweden, Denmark, Chile, Jordan, Pakistan, the Netherlands, Argentina and Hungary. And the other 2 IGOs were the World Bank and WMO. These countries and organizations are known as sponsoring partners, and they will be described a little later on in the presentation. This means that the Global Water Partnership as a network operates at 2 parallel levels. The organizational units are not necessarily subordinate to a higher level unit. However, when GWPO was created, statutes were put in place which does structure how the 2 parallel entities are linked on strategic planning and governance. Other subsequent internal documents also detail the working relationship between the Global Water Partnership Network and the Global Water Partnership Organization. In order to understand how the 2 entities function together, I will first explain how the Global Water Partnership Network is structured. GWP partners are the basis on which the Global Water Partnership Network is constructed and operates. A GWP partner is defined in the statutes in Article 3 and is any entity except individuals, and may include states, national, regional and local government institutions, intergovernmental organizations, international and national NGOs, academic institutions and research institutions, companies and service providers in the public sector. A prospective partner submits an application for partnership and thereby agrees to the basic principles of the Global Water Partnership. the articles in the statutes also sets out the benefits, rights and obligations of the GWP partners. All of this has been further elaborated in the Policy on Partners document, which explains to partners a little bit more in detail how their rights and obligations work and how the Global Water Partnership network works as a whole. According to the statutes, the partners have one annual General Assembly meeting, called internally in GWP as the Consulting Partners Meeting, but in the statutes is mentioned as the Network Meeting. The partners organize themselves geographically at regional and country level. The regional water partnerships and the country water partnerships are independent organizations and do not form part of the Global Water Partnership organization, the intergovernmental organization, and this is also stated in the statutes. The regional water partnerships and the country water partnerships are formed by GWP partners in a specific geographical area as separate entities. They are granted the right to use the name Global Water Partnership in connection with their own name through an accreditation by the Steering Committee of the Global Water Partnership Organization. The Global Water Partnership organs cannot direct or instruct the regional or country water partnerships, and unless this has been mutually agreed, for example in the accreditation agreement. In some regions and countries, the GWP partners have formed subnational water partnerships, which organisationally fall under the country water partnerships. Currently, there are 13 regional water partnerships and 87 country water partnerships. So, in order to be clear, the regional water partnerships and country water partnerships are separate and independent governance structures. They are not a formal part of the Global Water Partnership organization and therefore do not form part of the intergovernmental organization that is GWPO. Currently, most regional water partnerships lack any form of own legal registration. There is currently a process of looking into how and where a regional water partnership is able to register themselves as a legal entity in a country in their respective regions. The purpose of this legal registration is mainly in order to assist the regional water partnerships to fundraise at a local level. Country water partnerships are more likely to have their own legal registration as they are established within a country and need to be able to operate in that country. The Global Water Partnership Organization is, as explained, an intergovernmental organization with the sole objective of supporting and advising the Global Water Partnership network. GWPO was, as mentioned earlier, created by 8 countries and 2 other intergovernmental organisations. And these countries and the 2 organisations are known as the sponsoring partners. The sponsoring partners hold an annual meeting where they appoint the steering committee members and the chair on the basis of nominations by the nomination committee. The sponsoring partners meeting exercises its governance role over the steering committee by receiving and considering the annual activity reports and the annual financial statements of the steering committee, and by approving the audit reports. The work of the sponsoring partners and a definition of who they are can be found in the statutes under Article 4 and Article 10. Now, as mentioned, the sponsoring partners are responsible for appointing the members of the steering committee and the chair of the Global Water Partnership. The tasks of the steering committee are set out in Article 7 of the statutes, and as you will note is a fairly long list of tasks. Ultimately, the steering committee's work has the objective to advise and support the Global Water Partnership network, to create links between the Global Water Partnership organisation and the regional and country water partnerships. The steering committee also appoints the executive secretary of the Global Water Partnership organisation and convenes the consulting partners meeting. The steering committee is also responsible for operationalising the network's strategic guidance and policy, which of course it in turn directs the Global Water Partnership Organisation Secretariat to help it with. Another important task of the steering committee is to oversee the adherence of the regional water partnerships, the country water partnerships, and ultimately the partners to the principles which are to be upheld by the global water partnerships. In relation to the regional water partnerships, the steering committee is mainly involved with oversight of the conditions for accreditation, which, as mentioned earlier, is the document which gives the regional and the country water partnerships the right to use the name Global Water Partnership in connection to their water partnership. This document contains rights and obligations on the part of the Global Water Partnership Organisation and the regional and country water partnerships, and in a nutshell sets out how the working relationship between these organisations should be established. The nomination committee is the committee which proposes candidates to the sponsoring partners for appointment as steering committee members and as GWP chair. It also assists in appointing the external auditors of the Global Water Partnership. The nomination committee is appointed as set out in the statutes under Article 8. Currently, the nomination committee consists of 5 members as appointed by the steering committee. The work of the nomination committee is guided by Articles 7 and 8 of the statutes, and the nomination committee bylaws, which has been adopted by the sponsoring partners meeting. The qualifications for nominees for the steering committee can be found in the nomination committee bylaws. During 2014, the Global Water Partnership organisation undertook a governance review, and a report was presented to the steering committee in November 2014. In this report, it was recommended that the steering committee be modified in order to provide for better representation from the Global Water Partnership network. Therefore, at the steering committee meeting in June and the sponsoring partners meeting in June, a new composition of the steering committee was presented and adopted by the two bodies. The new steering committee, which will sit now in November 2015, will be the first occasion when the new composition of the steering committee will be put into place. The new composition will take roughly 3 years to put into place, as it was decided that the current attrition system for steering committee members would be used to phase out the current steering committee members and to put in place the new steering committee members. The new composition of the steering committee is 7 GWP partner seats, which are represented through the regional water partnerships, 4 independent seats, which are at-large members brought from outside the Global Water Partnership network, and 1 member representing the financing partners group. At the meeting in November 2015, the first 5 out of 7 GWP partner seats represented through regional water partnerships will take up their membership, as well as the financing partners group representative, who will also take up a position as a voting member of the steering committee. Previously, the financing partners group have been a permanent observer on the steering committee. The steering committee members sit for a term of 3 years, renewable once if they are independent members. The GWP partner seats represented through the regional water partnerships sit for a term of 3 years, but as GWP has 13 regional water partnerships, these seats are being represented by the regional water partnerships in a rolling manner. Each regional water partnership will have a seat on the steering committee for 3 years at a time, and a rolling system in order to have all the regional water partnerships represented on the steering committee has been put into place. In November 2015, the first regional water partnerships representing the GWP partners, which will come to the steering committee, are the Mediterranean, Southern Africa, West Africa, Southeast Asia, and South America. When the nomination committee picks the independent members of the steering committee, a consultation process takes place whereby the nominated candidates are sent to the GWP partners for their review and comments. Returning to the steering committee and the GWP chair, The GWP Chair is the head of the Global Water Partnership Organisation and the Global Water Partnership as a network. The Chair sits for a term of 3 years, renewable once, and is a person which is picked from outside the Global Water Partnership Organisation's own steering committee. It is an ex officio position on the steering committee, together with the Executive Secretary, the Chair of the Technical Committee, and the Chair of Regional Chairs. In addition, there are a number of observers on the steering committee. Some are permanent observers, while others can be invited by the Chair to attend a meeting where it is deemed to be relevant and necessary for the discussions of that particular meeting. As mentioned earlier, one of the tasks of the steering committee is to appoint the Executive Secretary of the Global Water Partnership, as well as appoint the Chair of the Technical Committee and the Technical Committee members. The Executive Secretary has an ex officio position on the steering committee, as well as the Chair of the Technical Committee, but neither the Technical Committee nor the Secretariat has a governance role within the statutes of the Global Water Partnership. The Technical Committee is a committee of leading technical experts within water and related fields. It currently has 11 members and an interim Technical Committee Chair. And the Technical Committee provides intellectual and technical leadership to the Global Water Partnership network. The Executive Secretary is the head of the Global Water Partnership Secretariat and can be seen as a CEO or managing director of the organisation. It is the position which holds the signatory rights for the Global Water Partnership organisation. The Executive Secretary heads up the day-to-day management of the Global Water Partnership organisation and its Secretariat, which sits in Stockholm, Sweden. The Secretariat's work is guided by the directions given by the Steering Committee, based on the strategic directions and policies established by the network meeting of the GWP partners. The Global Secretariat is divided into 4 units: the Executive Secretary's Office, the Communications Unit, the Finance and Administration Unit, and the Network Operations Unit. And it is the Executive Secretary which has the authority and the responsibility to staff the Secretariat with appropriately skilled staff members. The Secretariat works very closely with the Global Water Partnership Network, and it has direct relationships with the regional water partnerships and, in certain instances, the country water partnerships. As you can see, this picture tries to demonstrate the 2 separate entities which make up the Global Water Partnership. The blue circle, which is the Global Water Partnership Network, and the green boxed in figures, which are which are what make up the Global Water Partnership organisation. As mentioned previously, the financing partners or donors of the Global Water Partnership organisation and the Global Water Partnership Network are now members of the steering committee. In addition, the Global Water Partnership Network, in other words the regional water partnerships and the country water partnerships, have regional and country donors who give them funds directly in order to implement the activities of the partnerships at those levels. The Global Water Partnership organisation is not involved in those funding relationships, but do monitor and report on any form of locally raised funding. I hope that this presentation has given you a better understanding of how the Global Water Partnership as a network and as an organisation is structured, and how the organisation and the network is governed. Please also listen to the other two introductory presentations in relation to financing and network operations in order to understand all of these relationships in a wider manner. Thank you.